When did we stop saying good morning? Not just to the people we know, to the stranger, the neighbor, the person standing right next to us. When did that quietly go away? It's something that I'm noticing, and it got me to thinking about something much bigger. Welcome to the Always On Mute podcast, where we know not everyone was born with a mic in their hand or a megaphone in their mouth, but we still have something to say because quiet is still a voice. Welcome to the Always On Me podcast. I'm Antonia, and this is where quiet minds speak with intention. If you are new here, thank you for being here. And if you are returning, welcome back. If you have not subscribed as yet, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you do not miss future episodes. Please, thank you, good morning, hello. The simple things, the values that were put in me early before I even understood why they mattered. Somebody made sure I had them. And when I look around now, so much of it feels like it's gone quiet, faded in a lot of places. Manners and common decency. These things were handed down for generations. How you greet a person, how you treat someone who can't do a single thing for you, that got passed to a lot of us, hand to hand, on purpose. So this one isn't about what the people before us failed to leave behind. This one is on us because we still have it to give and we're letting it slip away. I was contemplating all the knowledge that's been shared with me, well, most of it over the years. And I started to realize how much was never handed down at all. The generations before us didn't always leave the notes, they didn't leave the tips. And I don't think all of it was intentional. Some of them were figuring out life too. And because of that, so many of us are out here starting from scratch. Think about it like levels. Some of us start at the level way down, basically from scratch. Level one, with the whole climb ahead of us. Entry level to work through on our own. But some people got to start higher up, level five, level 10, because somebody before them left the knowledge, the notes, the money, the head start. They got to skip the levels the rest of us had to earn. We all begin wherever the person before us left off, and only if they left anything at all. I think it's time we break that cycle. But before we go there, let me show you what I mean, because it lives in the smallest things. I learned to cook from watching my mom. I was young. I loved being in the kitchen with her. Would stand beside her, pick up things. So basically, pick up knowledge and also physical things. I would hand her the lemon juice to wash the chicken. I would hand her the seasoning. I would cut up the scallion and the thyme, right? And that's how I learned. I learned how to clean and prep, how to season, how to know when a thing was just right, and how to know when it was done. Nobody sat me down. I caught it. And I never once saw her measure anything or make notes. Somebody will ask me for a recipe. Actually, somebody did. And I told them that I don't have one. And they got annoyed. They thought that I was holding out. And I'm like, I don't keep recipes, right? I tell them the ingredients, but I don't have exact measurements. Everything is by the eye. That's how I learned. And that's because that's how mom used to do it. And if it needs adjustment along the way, I adjust it, right? I adjust it so that it comes out how I want it to. Now, there is one place measurement is needed, and that is in baking. The eggs get counted, the flour gets leveled, the sugar gets measured, because baking will punish you for guessing. So I'm not against precision. I just know where it matters and where it doesn't. And being Jamaican, the right spices matter. Bay leaf, pimento, scotch bonnet pepper, thyme, cloves, scallion, and more, the dry seasoning. Half of what's in my cupboard isn't in everybody else's. I still remember realizing that some people season with just salt and black pepper. That's how they do it. For me, if I run out of something, I improvise and it still comes out right. I caught all of this by watching, by observing my mom. And I haven't written a single thing down, not one recipe. So, the very thing I'm describing, that knowledge that lived in my mother's hands and never made it to paper, I'm doing it too. I'm the same break in the chain. And some people never even got a chance. They stayed clear of the kitchen. Some people are like, not my thing. They didn't watch. They didn't want it. They simply were not interested. So it never passed to them at all. The reason I can't hand you that recipe is the same reason so much of life feels like we're figuring it out alone from the beginning every single time. We keep starting from scratch because the lessons didn't survive the people who learned them. And it wasn't just what happened in the kitchen. Another thing that never really got handed down was what our people could do with their hands. So much of what we watch the women in our family do, and the men too, we just took for granted. Gardening, knitting, sewing, basic repairs, fixing a thing instead of throwing it out and buying a new one. I was always the one who chose to be in the room near the elders. So a lot of it reached me just from being there. The women in my family, they knit, they crocheted, they sewed, they made clothes, men too. But I was never interested. I just watched and I admired the finished product. Sewing was not my thing. Several years ago, the church that I attend wanted the women, or men too, well, whoever could basically knit, right? So the message was they wanted to have some hats and scarves knitted for the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And my mom decided to participate because she used to love to crochet, right? So she went to Walmart and she bought all her supplies, yarns of different colors and needles of different sizes, all the things. But unfortunately, when she was done and she had a big bag full, the church said that they canceled the initiative, right? They stated that enough people didn't volunteer. So that entire lot became mine. I gifted some, I kept some, and that project allowed me to witness my mother do something she thoroughly enjoyed because she hadn't crocheted for decades before that, right? I was fortunate enough to have home economics when I attended Hackensack Middle School. I learned to sew on a machine, thread a needle, hem by hand. I haven't touched a machine since, but I still know how. I had wood shop, real woodworking with real tools. I made a well piggy bank that's up there and a drawer, like basically a basic, drawer with a shelf. I still have both. When I moved to New York, I met people who didn't have the same experience. It wasn't offered in their public schools, not at all. So, some of what didn't get passed down didn't fall out of families, it fell out of schools too. And because of that shop class, I am not afraid to pick up a hammer, a nail, a drill. Something small needs doing around the house. I'm the girl. I try to do it. Now, gardening is one of the things that I have actually grown to love. And it wasn't family that gave it to me. Actually, it was, but not mommy or aunties or anything like that. It was a cousin. And I was thinking about it. I feel like she tricked me into doing her gardening that year. I really do. But I am not mad. I'm not mad at all. Because if that didn't happen, I might not have picked up gardening. I mean, it took some time for me to basically get into it and get to love it the way that I do now. But I picked it up from her. So now I'm able to use my backyard in the summertime to sow and reap my own veggies. And some of the same things that end up in my cupboard, they're in my garden. When I lay it all out, almost none of it was handed to me on purpose. A canceled church project, a class the state happened to offer a cousin who tricked me. Wink, wink. These things survived by accident through side doors, not because anyone made sure I'd have them. So ask yourself, who's watching you now the way that you watched them? If you watched them. But if there is one thing nobody sat us down for, one thing we were left to figure out completely cold, it is money. I went to school for accounting, so I thought I knew money. Money is not numbers, and numbers is not money. I mean, they're related, but it's not the same. What I went to school for is not what I need in my practical life. I knew some things, but there was so much more that I didn't know. Several years ago, I joined a mentorship group. That is when I realized I didn't know it. I didn't know what I thought I did, not for myself. I knew all the terminology for work, but it had never been applied to my own life, in my own house. So I started planting seeds to build multiple streams of income. I wrote my first book. I invested in property out of state, and I have planted other seeds since, and I'm still planting seeds right now. Credit, credit. Nobody taught us about credit. You get a credit card. One of the things that I saw on YouTube, I think it was sometime last year, was someone talking about when they went to college and how people would be outside near the gates with credit card offers. And because we were not educated, we would just get them. I did. Did you? Nobody explained to us what to do with it. So you just use it. You spend it until it's all out. We were not thinking about paying it back. We weren't thinking about our credit report or anything like that. And because of that, my credit report was jacked up for a long time. Knowledge. We were taught to save our money in the bank. And what I have come to understand is while it's not wrong, it's not completely true either. One of my mentors put it this way to the group: your money should have babies. If you leave it sitting in the bank is making money off of your money. So why not find a way to make your money work for you instead? I mean, there's a whole lot of other stuff in there that I won't get into now, but it shifted my mindset because then I had to consider retirement, investing, start conversations early. I have a 401k and I got it early, but nobody ever explained to me just having one isn't enough for retirement. The tax refund. The way I understand it, a refund is really just an overpayment that you made to the government. Money you paid, coming back to you. And what's crazy is I have seen where some people spend it before it lands back in their bank account. Your salary is negotiable. We take for granted that whatever they offer us is what we have to accept. It isn't. You must know your worth and don't settle. I'm learning all of this now. Because before, like, go on a job interview and they offer me something and it sounds good, I'm like, woohoo. But then you get the job, you start working your butt off, and then you realize, oh man, the reality of it is the knowledge comes, and once you learn something, it goes with you. But I mean, I know my worth now. A will, life insurance, these are the things that survive you. They spare your family the stress, the scramble, the GoFundMe. I was so proud when I got my life insurance. I was proud of myself for doing it and excited, so excited that I started to tell people, especially people who had children, because I didn't realize that you can get life insurance for your babies. That's when it's like super cheap. So I made sure I told certain people around me. And I was happy that one of my friends decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. And they did it for them, for their family. And now I'm learning the part that goes back even further back than me. Families who open a bank account for a baby. Now, don't get me wrong, we do that. Either when it's a baby or birthday party, whatever the case may be, the family will usually like open a bank account, and they consider it a little savings. But people go a step further. People actually give their child a credit card. They take out a credit card in the child's name, make small purchases, and pay it off every month, so that by the time they graduate, they already have good credit. They're already in a position to purchase property. So basically, they are ahead. That's what I'm learning now. We're people in our community. That's where I learned it. The information has never been more available. YouTube alone has a wealth of knowledge. You can learn about stocks, trading, getting credit, cleaning up your credit, how to invest, all of it for free. The information is out there. Our parents didn't have that. But availability isn't inheritance. Nobody handed me the starting point. Nobody told me this was something to go and look for before I needed it. And you can't search for the answer to a question you were never taught to ask. The old generation didn't have the information. We have all of it, and we still start from scratch. So let me ask you something, and let me know in the comments below. Are you sharing what you know with someone coming behind you? Are you making the notes so that they don't have to start from scratch, so that they can start a few levels up instead of all the way back at square one? Money is hard to talk about, but there is something even harder, and it lives in our own bodies. Because women, our bodies start to change as we get older, and we don't realize how much of what we go through is shared. The knees, the back, these things cracking over here, discomfort showing up in places that never gave you trouble before. I think about how when we were younger and we hear our mommies, aunties, grandparents, they get up with a and it takes a while for them to basically stiffen out and shift. I used to laugh. Say like, wait, what's wrong with you? Mommy, what's wrong? And they talk about their back, their knee, their ankle. And all the while we're laughing, not understanding that it wasn't just for them. They were there, but we were on our way there. It's a road that every single one of us is going to walk. The thing I laughed at is the thing I'm living now. I get up and I'm like, wait a second, what's that new crackling sound? And so now my mom gets to laugh at me. Those conversations weren't happening. Not with our parents, not with our doctors. Some of it was just taboo. So you'd go through something and think you were the only one. I know I did. I did. It's taken getting older for me to be able to sit and chat with my physician and actually say what is going on. Because if I don't tell them, how can they help me figure it out? I was talking with a family member last year, and she told me a series of procedures and surgeries that she had experienced years before. And I was shocked because I didn't know. I had no idea. And she mentioned that she was a little disappointed in her mother for never sharing that information with her. But I don't think our parents were withholding it to be cruel. I think that they were uncomfortable also. I mean, it's not, I mean, who wants to talk about all the women things? It's uncomfortable, right? I think that we're just more forthcoming than they were able to be, right? But I'm still sometimes a little bit skeptical with what I want to share with whom. The other thing is movement, being mindful of what we put in our bodies and just keep moving. Working from home during the pandemic, it was wonderful. I loved it. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I loved it. But the thing about working from home is that you sit longer hours, right? You sit longer hours in front of the computer. And it wasn't until I got back to the office reluctantly that I had to admit to myself that going back to the office made sense because it actually made me move. Because I walked to the train station, I walk up steps, down steps, a few times before I get to the office. When I'm in the office, I'm walking around the office. Adversely, when I'm home, I have to remind myself sometimes to get up, girl, or my Fitbit or my watch. Hey, you're running out of time to close your rings, right? So, at home, I get up and I just run down the stairs to get some water and come back up. But that's not it. Like, you have to move more. But I'm always so quick to come back to the seat. But my thing is, it's like the movement has to be intentional. So running down the stairs to get water and running back, that is not intentional. I'm being more mindful to do that now, though. I'm not stretching enough, though. I need to do that. And while we are here, water, we have to stay hydrated. Being hydrated actually helps with all of the because you need moisture in your body for things to work. But because we don't want the inconvenience of running to empty our bladder, sometimes we skip the water altogether. Craziness. To be fair, I don't skip water because I love water. I actually have water right here. But I've known people who's like, I don't want to have to go pee. And the thing is like, but you're supposed to flush your system. Supposed to flush your system. So you can have clear skin and all these things. I had a colleague come into the office one day several months ago, and I was shocked because she had on a medical boot. And I was like, wait, what happened? And she said that she was sitting on her couch with one of her legs folded. And she said it's common practice for her to do that. Her, sometimes her legs fall asleep. But she said when she got up, her leg basically just gave way and she fell over. And I ain't gonna lie, it frightened me. It did. Because I'm thinking, we're actually at that age now where something so simple, like so things that we once used to do, you know, for her it was basically sitting with her leg folded. It caused her to get a boot. So we shouldn't take for granted the things that we used to do and that it's always going to work that way. It doesn't. So I walk more now than I ever used to. I love to walk. I used to love to run, but I find that I am walking more now than running. The other thing is strength training. I used to do it consistently, but I will admit that I'm not doing it nearly enough as I should. I used to pick up my weights every single day. And for the past year, not as much. I need to find a routine to get back into it. Because as we grow older, you can walk from here back to Jamaica and back. It's helping nothing. Because I'm at the age now where what's important is preserving my muscles. So these are the things that, like sometimes you learn about it by accident. Whether it's because you're trying to lose weight or gain, I guess, or if you get injured, you learn through therapy that you basically have to build the muscle in order for things to kind of work back the way that it once used to. But I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna get back to them weights. They're in my bedroom, and I see them every day, and they say, "Hey, girl." So I'm getting back to it. That's a promise to myself. And the one thing giving me hope in all of this, social media is doing the handing down our families didn't. One woman posts about what she's going through, thinking she's the only one, and 100 women say, "Me too," and comment their experience. So it's a whole community out there. That is where I'm going to leave part one, because there is a whole other half of this. The things we inherited that aren't recipes or skills or money at all. What we learned about feeling, about silence, about what stays inside the house and what's allowed to leave it, where we come from, what we believe, and why. That's part two. But before I go, let me bring it back to where we started. We can't get back what we didn't survive, but we are the ones holding it now. And we get to decide whether it dies with us too. So leave the notes, leave the tips, share what you know freely. Share it with the people you love, your neighbor, your colleagues, with anyone willing to listen. Heck, start a YouTube channel and share. And the simple things, please, thank you, good morning, hand those down too, on purpose this time, because those were never supposed to be lost. We get to be the generation that stops starting from scratch. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this made you think of somebody, share it with them. The person who taught you, or the person you're still hoping to teach you. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you do not miss part two. And tell me in the comments, what's the one thing nobody handed down to you? The recipe, the skill, the money, the thing about your own body, the thing you had to learn from scratch. Drop it in the comments and let me know. Please remember, being quiet doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means you choose your words with intention. Stay muted, stay mighty, and I will see you next time. Take care.